Your memberships help us grow and keep free videos just like this one coming. Please consider joining the largest notary signing agent training course and notary resource library on the market today. Visit us at www.notarystars.com.
Welcome to Notary Stars General Mentorship. It's Monday, June 26, 2023. And as you get tuned into this episode, we'd like to ask if you're watching while driving. That means you, Anisha. Stay off camera in listen-only mode. We care about your safety and your well-being. So the session's being recorded, guys, so you can always come back to it again and again if you missed something. This is how mentorship works best. So if you could do a few things for us, first of all, the session is all about you guys and what you need help with. So your participation is much appreciated. No matter where you are in your notary career, if you need help with anything at all, please go ahead and virtually raise your hand now. Get in queue and share your struggles with your colleagues. It also helps us, if you're not driving, to have your camera on. So it's much easier to have a conversation when we can see your beautiful smiling faces rather than just a name tag, right? And lastly, it helps a lot if you can rename yourself with your first name and your state abbreviation so that when we do talk to you, we can kind of put our minds in the right space for the right state, okay? We do have just a couple of announcements to make before we get started, so please get those hands raised while Ronnie runs through our brief announcements, and then we'll get right down to business. Mr. Ronnie, are you ready?
Absolutely. So these will just take a few minutes. So I want you guys to go ahead and get your hands raised if you have something that you want to talk about, because again, this session is all about you. But we want to make sure that we don't miss some of the important things that we need to touch on. First of all, it is coming up on June 30th. And if you don't know what that is, there's actually two things that are happening on June 30th that you need to be aware of. Number one, BankServe and Fidelity Notaries. You have been notified time and time again that you have to sign this new disclosure about their new security requirements. We did make an entire mentorship dedicated just to this. And to this day, this very day, I have notaries going, have you heard about this? So I'm going to post it into the chat. And if you're watching the replay, I'm going to post that as a replay down below in the description. So please make sure to grab it from the chat tonight, watch that video, because you have to make sure you agree to those things prior to June 30th to continue working with Fidelity or for BankServe. Coincidentally, if you are interested in live scan training, that is also the same day that Lisa Duffy was so generous to give all of the Notary Stars or anybody watching our general mentorships 10% off her live scan and her ink card fingerprinting course. I'm going to post a link to her website in the chat as well. I'll also post it on the replay if you're interested in that. You have until June 30th to redeem that 10% off, and then it's going to go back up to full price. With that said, I want to remind you that if you have taken that journey, which I know several of you have, please make sure that you now take advantage of the Notary Star tick boxes inside your profile that says live scan or ink card fingerprinting. If you're at the Notary Star level, you can tick both of those boxes, and you can also add her training to your repertoire on your profile. So that's kind of a lot about that topic. Abraham and I did a podcast today, and I know a lot of you are a big fan of Abraham Zamora and the Notary Entrepreneur. I love being on his show. So I'm going to post a link to that. There's a lot of information for one day, so just save the link for another day so you can, have something to listen to on a day. I posted that link in there for you as well. Today's topic for his podcast were what signing agencies are looking for. And I did reference the videos I did with Carol and with other places, but Abraham had some different takes on things. And so we kind of went down a different road. So I hope that you'll revisit that. Now, one other thing, please mark your calendar for July 17th. We have made touch with Miss Cynthia Alexander, and she is going to be giving us a presentation on permit running. So if you're interested in adding that into your repertoire, that's my new word today, repertoire. If you're interested in adding that in, please do not hesitate to mark your calendar for July 17th. That's going to be at the same time that we're doing now, which we do our general mentorship every week, Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 Eastern Standard Time. That changes during the winter season, but that'll be on July 17th. We are also talking right now with someone who is does similar type of presentation for inspections. So if you're looking to add that to your repertoire, then you can keep a lookout for that. Now, last thing that I want to mention, this is personal, but I need to share it with people because it's kind of a big deal. So over the weekend, for the last 2 years, I have been training, and for anybody in my marketing course, they know I know what I'm talking about, okay? But it's kind of hard to tell people I know what I'm talking about when it comes to building a website or search engine optimization. And you can go out and Google what is a Wix legend. And over the weekend, I actually crossed that threshold. I am officially a Wix legend, which means that the largest website builder, there are only really 3. There's GoDaddy, there's WordPress, and there's Wix, which is something that I truly endorse, and I've used it since I was, in my 20s. I'm in my 40s now, to build websites and actually come up in search rankings. It's one thing to build a website, it's another thing to actually make that website come up. So I have reached Wix Legend Status, which is the highest status you can get with building websites. So it's a big credential to bear. And I've always known what I'm talking about, but I had to prove it to the largest website builder in the country. And this is not something you can apply for. They actually have to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, we like your work. Would you like to train with us? Their training is absolutely free, but then you have to do the hard work, which I did. Many sleepless nights over the last 2 years, getting things going and making things work and learning. So with that said, now I'm 100,000% comfortable. You don't try it before an hour after this session, but if you are on that cusp of joining Notary Stars Plus Marketing, I want to invite you because I have the proof that I know what I'm talking about now. And I got an entire worldwide company to back me up, to call me a partner. If you would like to join my Notary Star marketing level, I'm now giving 50% off the first month because I know what I'm talking about in that course. You still get everything you get at Notary Stars, but if you use the code GoRonnie about an hour after this session ends, or any time to the rest of the year, you will get your 50% off your first month to join at the Notary Star Plus marketing level. And this I can promise you, and I've got a worldwide company to back me up. I will show you how to make your website come up #1 on Google. And any of my marketing students here know that I know what I'm talking about. I will show you. All you have to do is do the work. So
I'm going to give you my Barbie clap.
Thank you. So I just wanted to do that, and I'll put that code in the chat now. But remember, I haven't had time to activate it. It's been a busy day over here at Unlimited Ink and Notary Stars. So I will put that in the chat now. Save that code. It's GoRonnie, all caps, all one word, and I'll make it available probably right after this session ends today. And with that said, I know we have a lot of great questions coming in today. I know 2 people that are going to bring up some really important topics today. And if you guys could go ahead and get your hands raised, I see 2 people already have their hands raised. I'd like to take this right into you guys' questions and get started with what's going on in the notary industry today. I love calling on this person. Miss Tina Turner, when you are ready, we would love to hear from you.
Can you see me and hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay.
There you go.
All righty, good. There we go. Yes, I'm not the legendary, but I am the real Tina Turner. So I tell people that it's actually on my birth certificate. I haven't got married. Nobody's took it from me, so it's mine. So I'm here in North Carolina. I've been a notary for 2 years. I kicked in, been a loan signing agent. You guys were a big help for me as far as all the trainings, but I struggle the most with general notary work. Like I am really struggling. Like right now, my Yelp is like crazily blowing up, even though I'm in a market where Charlotte has tons of, notaries and loan signing agents, but my Yelp is crazily asking me for like, to come out and do some general notary. So I'm not, and in North Carolina, we have to take the 6-hour course and it's really fast and they go over things. But like today, and I even try to call NNA to get this question. I have a particular customer that reached out to me and his father is 90 years old. So son, father situation. And his father doesn't have identification. He has he said he has 2 witnesses that he can bring along to sign for power of attorney paperwork. I have been like looking everything. I have already went through my book because like I said, I'm so focused on loan signing that I always forget general notary work, and especially in North Carolina, because they're really, really picky about, things. So I just need some help because today I probably already spent 5 hours trying to figure this out, if I can even assist him.
Mhm. Now, Miss Tina, I just looked you up in our database and you are a Notary Star Plus marketing member. And I know when you sign up, we send out a text message that says, hey, store this number in your phone. Why have you not called the Notary Stars line today?
Because I thought I should go to NNA. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I'm just now getting acclimated with you guys too. So I am going to put that number in the phone to ask that question because again, thank you. You just reminded, I knew it was a resource that I forgot. But yeah, so is that what that number is for? So I can call for those things,
Yep.
and not just when I'm doing loan
I just put
signing.
it into the chat. So part of
Okay.
the membership is you have access to our Notary Star support line. You can call that number anytime from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. and get help Mountain Standard Time or Pacific Standard Time at the moment. So that's 9 o'clock your time until well after hours your time in North Carolina. You can call that number and get support on general notary work or loan signings. And we're there to help you. So don't spend that 5 hours by yourself. Spend it with us because that's what we're here for. Occasionally we may have high call volume and we might take a message and call you right back, but we won't make you wait 5 hours.
Okay. I'm gonna say that number right because I've already texted them because they sent me a lot. Soon as, yeah, you guys, I love you guys. You're awesome. But anyways, but I thought that was just for loan signing agents. I really didn't know that it was for general notary. But now that you have said that, I would definitely put that in my phone and definitely reach out to you guys instead.
Yeah, and if you have a specific question about it today, you can go ahead and ask it here, or you can give us a call when you pull your questions together, and we'll be here for you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, mainly that's what I'm more so interested in is if anybody in North Carolina, can guide me or assist me, but I will call them and ask them about that particular question in regards to the notary for the 2 witnesses, no identification, because it's like I said, I don't know what to do in this situation. And the journal is just definitely the guideline or the information that they gave me when I took the course. I pulled that book out, I couldn't find it. So
I can give you a little bit of information now, Tina. I'll have to do some research for you. But I can tell you North Carolina does allow you to use a credible witness, and you only need one to identify him. So when we talk about credible witness, we're talking about a human ID, okay? Somebody who knows him well, that can vouch for his identity. I always recommend that you have them complete a credible witness affidavit. It may not be required in North Carolina, but to kind of cover your own behind, it's a good idea to have it. And that would be for you doing general notary work, something that you would just keep in your journal. Hey, he swore that's who this guy was. And here's his statement on this affidavit, and you keep that in your journal. Okay. The other thing is powers of attorney can sometimes come with their own regulations, their own rules. So depending on what type of power of attorney it is, if it's associated with a living will, that's a healthcare directive, a mental healthcare directive, any of those things that you find in that estate planning, or I'm trying to think of another word that you guys might use, healthcare directives, right?
mm-hmm.
They're going to be very restricted on who can be the document witness Two different things. You got a credible witness, which is a human ID, and a document witness, which most powers of attorney require at least one witness, sometimes two, but depending on what it is, you need to look on that power of attorney specifically for direction. Okay. If it's associated with a living will, they're going to restrict you completely. Can't be related by blood or marriage. Has to be over the age of 18. Cannot be the notary. Some states say, hey, if you're the notary and it requires a witness, you could be both. Not on a power of attorney. Okay. You can never be the witness and the notary on a power of attorney. But you'll have to look at that power of attorney directly and see if there's any specific instructions on who can be the document witnesses. Okay. Does that help?
It does. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That gave me a lot of insight where I need to go just within that small little time from Ronnie talking up into you. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Miss Tina, I want you to also know I sent you that number on a private message, and then I also sent you the link within the Notary Stars journey. If you click on that, it'll take you to the downloadable resources where you can grab those credible witness affidavits that we have available for you with instructions on it as well. All right. Next hand we got up here is Terry from Colorado. When you are ready, we'd love to hear from you.
Good evening. Congratulations on your cert.
Thank you.
I've got a Google question related to BankServe.
Okay.
I have two computers. My personal day-to-day is an Apple MacBook. My work is a Surface 7 Pro.
Mhm.
So I went in on my Apple and I signed into my work email, went into the settings, updated the requirements, including the two-factor authentication.
Mhm.
Signed off, went into my Surface, my work machine, and it didn't require two-factor. It didn't send me the note. So I looked at the settings. Sure enough, it says it's turned on, but it's not working. Any ideas?
Yes. So you're logged in already previously on that device. So what you would need to do is log out completely on that device. So you're probably holding, if you have a Chrome browser, you're probably holding, or even a Microsoft Edge, you're probably holding your settings on that other browser. So you're already logged into that browser. So it wouldn't, so you would need to log out and then attempt to log back in.
You're saying log out on both computers.
Log out on both computers and then log back in. Google has a tendency to save a lot of stuff on your browser. So what you would want to do is completely sign out of your email on that browser. And I'm going to share my screen here to show you what I'm talking about. Because it's not just about signing out of your email. It's going to be signing out of the browser as well. Let's see. I don't know which screen I shared. Do you guys see something that says downloadable resources?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So right up here in the three, right up here next to the three things, you see that profile right there?
Yeah.
You're going to need to sign out of that profile where it's not sharing your information on Google. You have the ability to sign into multiple profiles. This one only has one in there, so you can see personal, and then I can add others. You're going to need to sign out of that profile and then log back into it because it's probably saving you're already logged into that.
Okay.
Okay. I can't
Thank you.
if that's going to work, but that would be the first thing that I would check.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. And if you do have more issues with it, please send me an email. contact@notarystars.com is my email. It comes directly to me. I'd love to work with you on it just in case there's a way for us to write a blog article about how to resolve that. Because one person's problems is probably all of our problems.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this next one's coming up here is juicy, guys. Miss Kirsten, we can't wait to hear your story of the week because this is a good one, you guys, and you guys are gonna love it.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you just fine.
Okay. My internet's being a little unstable right now, so hoping for right now it'll go through. So about 2 weeks ago, I had just a regular GNW, general notary work, for a durable power of attorney. I've done quite a few of these, and I kind of knew what was coming up in the notarial certificate. It was a hybrid, so it said sworn to or affirmed and acknowledged before me. So it was a hybrid. Thanks to Notary Stars and Beth's training that I go and bug her daily in the class. I learned that Arizona, we are not allowed to do a hybrid certificate. So what I generally do is I will explain to the signer, explain what the jurat is and what an acknowledgement is, and I ask them which one they would like to choose. They generally go, I don't care, you choose. I go, nah, I'm sorry, that would be practicing law illegally. I'm not an attorney. Then I explain again, I can put you under oath for the truthfulness of this document, or I can have you acknowledge that that's your signature, that you signed that. And they always they look at whoever else is with them, and my person this time, everyone in the room was just like, just do the oath. And I was like, okay. So I did what I've always done, is on my notarial certificate, I struck out the acknowledged initial, put my signer under oath, they signed, I filled out everything. Easy, perfect, just like normal. The next day I get a call from my signer. I can tell he is very frustrated, and he said he is currently at the bank and they are refusing to use that power of attorney. I asked, well, what's going on? And he said that they did not like that I had struck out the word acknowledged, that they were not going to take it. And I told him that, I can't have that. He goes, oh, no. I told them everything you told me at the signing. I told them that Arizona's not allowed to have it. They're not allowed to have the two things in there. So my signer was like backing me up, which is awesome. And so I was like, well, do you want me to come down right now? I can come down. I will, I'll show them where it says that we can't use that. He goes, well, we were on the phone with their corporate document review division. I was like, okay. He's like, I have made an appointment for the next morning. Can you come then? Because I'm too frustrated to talk with them. Sure, I can be that. He's like, come to defend yourself then. And he was like on my side, but he was just like, get ready to defend yourself. It's like, oh, great. Lovely. So the next day I go into the bank and I explain to the banker, who is also a notary here in Arizona, what I did, why I struck out the word acknowledged. And she looks at me and she goes, I've never heard of that. And I was like, well, it's in our manual, it doesn't mention hybrids. It says we can only have jurats or acknowledgements. I told her after I got off the phone call with my signer yesterday that I immediately called the Secretary of State and asked them if we were allowed to do hybrids. They said, no, we are only allowed to have one notarial act per certificate. I immediately emailed Beth and asked her if I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. She said yes. She gave me an email from the Secretary of State mentioning we can only have one notarial act in each certificate. So when I went to the bank, I had my manual, I had that email printed out, and I showed the notary, and she's like, okay, well, that's interesting. So she gets on the call and we wait for a while, and then she said that the main thing that they did not like is that I had crossed out acknowledged. They wanted the word acknowledged in there. So I looked and I was like, well, what would you like me to do? I can't decide what to do. And I would, I'm I told them we can, redo it, or I can attach a loose certificate if they will accept an extra paper in their documents. And so she got back on the phone, talked with them, and yes, all they wanted was an acknowledgement loose certificate. Then what I did is I did that and I was good to go. Everything worked out, and I left the email with the banker, who is also a notary.
So it was an education mission for you.
Yep.
Not so much a defend yourself, it was an education mission. Good job.
I couldn't have done it if I didn't know that hybrids were not allowed. And then I did exactly what you always tell us to do, Beth, is go to the source. So manual, Secretary of State, and Notary Stars.
And
There you
Ms. Kirsten, I just want to tell you, two things out of this. First of all, I love that you kept your cool and that you went along with it. As professionals, sometimes we're going to be called into question, and we're going to have to politely educate our clients and the entities that they may be working with. We cannot take a holier than thou attitude with it. We have to just kind of roll with the punches. And you probably secured yourself a client, for future repeat business, because you did know what you were talking about, and you stood in their bank and said, this is how it is. You educated the bank. This is part of owning a business as a notary, is kind of educating our community about what is right and what is wrong. And that is our job, to kind of do that with grace. And I'm very proud of you for that. Just recently, I was standing in a UPS store, and the guy next to me was trying to explain to them how to do an I-9. And they were like, no, a notary is not allowed to do this. There's no certificate attached. And I was like, actually, you can. And I gave them like a polite little tutorial, because in Arizona, we can do I-9s. Some states you can't, but in Arizona, we can. And I was, pretty polite about it and showed them, and they were like, God, we turn these away all day. We could be making money. And I was like, send them my way. We'll take care of them. But, sometimes we just have to educate our community and our clients and let them know. And you may be saving that bank notary from making a big mistake, or making future mistakes, just by saying, hey, look, did you read the manual? Here it is right here. You've done more service by showing people. So I'm glad that you shared that with us today, and I really appreciate your candor, because I was listening. I know you didn't talk to me about it. You talked with Beth and worked with Beth on it, but she told me everything, because whenever something's going on, we're like behind the scenes talking. So I knew about it, and I'm glad that you shared that with us today. It really means a lot.
I just want to add that the power of attorney was drawn up in Arizona, and it still had the hybrid notary verbiage. And my signer was like, well, why is it like this then if you guys aren't allowed to do it? And I was like, we are governed by the Secretary of State, and they're not, the paralegal. And he's like, huh. So he wanted to take the POA back to the paralegal to get an addendum, just to make sure everything was safe. And he goes, I'm going to tell her about that. I'm going to tell her that you guys can't do hybrids in Arizona. I was like, you're an honorary notary right now.
Good job.
And they really should. And this goes back to something that we've said at Notary Star several times. Attorneys are not, and paralegals are not notaries. I mean, they might have their notary, but are they actually operating as a notary? They're operating as as an attorney. Sometimes we have to educate attorneys too, and paralegals, and then they might actually like you if you do it in the right way and present that to them. They might say, wow, I learned something from this person. This might be somebody I want to partner with to, make sure that I don't make mistakes, because a good attorney or a good paralegal that is drawing up documents would probably say, you know what, that's someone I'd want on my team. I know when people are smarter than me, like look at Miss Beth. She's here. When people are smarter than me, I partner up right away. So good job, Miss Kirsten. I really appreciate you.
Just a quick note, we've got about 72 people on the call right now, and I know about half of those came in late. So you may have missed some things that were talked about earlier. A lot of those links were put in the chats. So just so everybody's aware, you can download and save the chat, and you can do that now. Set it up now to save it. As soon as the session ends, it'll save that chat file to your PC, so you can go back and access it later. If you open up your chat, find those little 3 dots at the bottom. If you're on a PC, I don't know what it is on a Mac. It's probably command click, but it's right click or click on that. And then at the very top option is save the chat. That's all you have to do. You can do it anytime during the session and it'll save the entire chat for you when we close out and finish. Okay.
All right, we've got 2 really great topics coming up, guys. One of them is really, really near and dear to my heart, and one of them I feel very passionately about. The next person coming up here is Miss Nancy. Miss Nancy, I did ask you to share the email that you know, the question almost exactly how you wrote it to me this morning. And I would love for you to share, you don't have to say who it's about, but I'd love for you to share the gist of what you brought up to me this morning.
Sure. I got an email from a signing agency. I'm sure I'm not the only one to get it, talking about mistakes, errors happening, which, you know, we're all human, we make mistakes. And they're having an issue with it and they're trying to fix it. It was a super long email. And then it said, unless you take this test, you'll have 2 tries to pass it. You must get a 90%. We will not hire you. And I don't have an issue taking the test. No big deal. But when you're telling me that I have to pay you $129 to take a test with nothing else attached to it, just pay me $129, pass the test, and you may or may not get work from me. I kind of take issue with that. I'll take your test.
And then I'm going to read everybody what I replied. And this is exactly what I wrote back to Miss Nancy. And then you kind of changed your tone a little bit, right?
I did.
And just so you guys know, Miss Nancy is a part of my Notary Star Plus marketing course. And I do care about, you know, not that I don't care about everybody's well-being, but in addition to taking that course, she's also hired my advertising agency to continue work for her. So I feel a lot more compelled to make sure to guide her in the right, right direction. My response would say I would say it should depend on if they have work in your area or not. I mean, I require advanced training and I own Unlimited Ink, but I also partner with other signing agencies. And then I said, I do have to say, if they own a signing agency, they may be teaching you what they need for their clients. So it all would depend on if they have business in your area, and additional training is never going to hurt you. So, and then I made a joke and I said, at least it's not $1,000 with a promise to make 6 figures. Because I had to throw that in there. You guys know me, but additional training is never going to hurt you. And I use this example on my podcast today, or on Abraham's podcast today, on the segment that I got to talk about, is that, you know, when you're looking to get hired, and let's just say you only have Notary to Pro on your resume. And then I see a notary that has Notary to Pro and loan signing system and Notary Stars. Who do you think I'm going to hire? The one with 3 credentials. If I see, you know, signing agent basics and Notary Stars and Laura Beaver's training, and then I only see NNA, which one do you think I'm going to hire? The more training that you get, the more valuable you become. And people are going to look down and appreciate that you have training. And you get that clout of saying, hey, I know a little bit more. I know something could be different. Notary Stars is not the be all end all of training. Okay, I know that we do great. I will say we're very confident in that, but I want you guys to have different perspectives. And if we were the kind of instructors to say that we were the only training course available, we would be the wrong training course for you. Teachers, real teachers and educators believe that there are multiple avenues to get to where you're going. So, you know, I would analyze that a little bit differently and just say, do they have business in my area? I would watch the notifications going out. Oh, do I see notifications from them? Do they call? And if they have a requirement, take that requirement and get more business from them. It's a business risk. It is a business decision. As a business owner, you have to think about those things. But, you know, I read the email. It seems like they are really trying. And I remember when I tried to make Unlimited Ink go to the next level, which a lot of people get paychecks from, I started requiring more training. And some of that was my own training here at Notary Stars, even though I trained to work with many other companies. And no matter who you're working with, Notary Stars, I've said it from day one. You can watch the welcome video tonight. It's there and it's been there for a long time. It is still self-serving because I need well-trained notaries. Maybe they don't know about Notary Stars. Maybe they have a special client that they just need to teach you how to work with. Maybe you'll learn something in that course that'll help you with direct clients because
Well,
they're trying to please their direct clients.
and I'm going to cut you off, Ronnie. I'm sorry. You know, and it doesn't come with any sort of training though. And that's, yeah. And I'll admit, when I sent you that email, it's like, I don't know, like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was kind of hot. I'm like, what the heck? There's no training involved. There's pay me this money, take the test, or take a walk.
Well, you can also dig your heels in and see how prominent they are in your area. See if you hear other notaries, do research on them and see what their reviews are like, to see if they're a good company to work with. But if you're on their email list, I did not get the email, and I'm almost on everybody's list. I get emails from people I don't want to hear from because I'm on everybody's list as a notary, and I didn't get this one. And I believe I know the name enough. I would do my research on them and put it in my back pocket, but I wouldn't brush it off all the way.
Okay. And I've never seen anything come through for them. And I've been on that list with her for a year now.
Yeah, if you haven't seen anything come through, then it might not be the training for you. But if you did start seeing, because remember, signing agencies grow.
Right. But if there was training attached, and I do all kinds of other training. I do the Zoom calls with Bill, the TNT, some other ones. If they're on, I go on, I listen, I ask questions, and I don't have issue with that. I love to learn new stuff.
One thing that you may want to you may want to ask them, where are you going to be pulling your questions from on this test? Are they going to be personal, or are they going to be based on notary law in each state? You may want to write them back and just say, hey, I'd like to be prepared to take the test. And where are you getting that information?
Okay, I'll do that.
I can appreciate that they probably are trying to weed out the new notaries, the notaries who may cause them issues with errors on their files, particularly if they're trying to grow their business. Like Ronnie said, you don't want his clients to have problems on files. And I guarantee you, they're not checking files like Unlimited Ink does before they go back to the title companies, right? There's hardly anybody in the industry that does that. That's why Unlimited Ink is so popular. But they're trying to weed out notaries that don't know their stuff. You know who else does this? They don't charge you to do that. Well, yeah, they do too. They do two things. Just to be on 123 Notary, Jeremy Belmont used to call you at all hours of the night and give you a quick oral quiz. You either played his game or you didn't get a listing. And then if you wanted a premier listing, you paid him a couple of $100. You took his exam, and then he'd let you pay him an exorbitant amount to be a premier listing for a year. So they may be taking their cues after 123 Notary or Jeremy, but it would not be a wise investment if they're using it just as a ploy to get your money and say, we might have work in your area. And they're not going to guarantee you work.
Of course.
Do that. So it might, for me, there's too many other sources out there to go to than to take a risk on that. I just don't know if it's something you even want to try.
Gotcha.
I respect everyone's opinion, but I just want everyone to keep an open mind, because you never know. Nobody knew that I was going to become Unlimited Ink or Notary Stars. Yeah. You never know who you're working with, and Beth and I won't be around forever. We're planning on it. I signed my name in the book of life a long time ago and holding on to it, but for my place, but I'm going to try to stay here as long as possible. But we may not be here forever, and you may need other people around you. Businesses open and close and people grow. So never burn bridges. You may just want to ask some questions and keep it in a back pocket. It's so easy to kind of put a chip on our shoulder sometimes and be like, nope, this isn't the way that it is. And I just come from a standpoint, my complete perspective has changed, as you guys know, over the last couple of years, working with different trainers and working with all of you and different perspectives in different parts of the country, that we might just want to keep sometimes things in our back pocket till the time is right. And if the time never comes, that's okay too.
Yeah, and opinions run deep in this company. And sometimes they're diabolically opposed, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't pay to play. I just don't. There's too many other options. But put it in your back pocket, you might want to tag it later. You never know.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we just approved a point here, guys, that it is perfectly okay to agree to disagree. There's quite a few opinions on that. And, that's mine and best typical workday is agreeing to disagree sometimes. But we have a wonderful work relationship. You guys hear me call her my work wife all the time. And, I think sometimes you need different perspectives and you need to not always believe what another notary tells you or what another notary says, or even what we tell you or say. Sometimes you have to think for yourself and make those decisions on your own. Now I know that this is
Agreed.
yes. Now I hope everybody will stick around and for this next one, because I think this is really, really important. Miss Mary, why don't you, I asked you to bring this up during general mentorship today, and I'd love for you to share what's going on with you right now, because I know that there are other notaries going through this.
Okay, I'm gonna stay off camera, but I know what I'm doing as far as being a notary. Confidence has really built up over the last few years, but I still have the occasional anxiety and panic over doing things perfectly and asking questions and feeling looked down on by signing agencies or escrow officers because I have questions. And I think it's coming up again now because the files, they're all different now. There's a lot of different files out there. It's not like they're all refinance and exactly the same or the same. Everything's a buyer. You might have a cash buyer. You might have a manufactured home, and there's just different situations that are coming. A lot of investment properties and et cetera. And so there's different documents that are coming up that I haven't seen before. And now that I'm not an expert, my confidence is waning, and I'm afraid it's going to hurt me.
And do you mind if I share a little bit of our conversation behind the scenes, going from there, Miss Mary?
I can't remember
what we talked about. What we talked about.
I mean, we had a conversation today, Ronnie, but I can't remember everything that I had talked about, to be honest. So you can go ahead. I'm comfortable with you sharing whatever you'd like about our conversation.
Okay. So first of all, when I talked to Miss Mary prior to this session today, I let her know that in the beginning, I was a basket case, and I still am on a lot of things. I know a lot of people look at me like I'm some kind of Superman, but I'm not. I have the same worries and fears that every notary has every time I'm in front of a piece of paper. It just gets a little bit easier as you go. What Miss Mary is experiencing right now is exactly what a lot of you might be experiencing, is you're doing newer things because the refi boom is over, clearly over. So you're doing different file types and you're learning about new documents. And I asked her today on the phone, I said, when you do have a question or you have a mistake, do you usually have it twice? And she was like, no, generally not. Sometimes I might forget something. And I let her know that it's okay. Beth, I call her, I don't know how many times I call you this weekend, 2 or 3, double checking answers that I was giving Notary Stars on the phone. Travis calls me at least once, sometimes twice a day to double check what he's guiding a notary on and what we might do for the client. This is okay. This is what Notary Stars is about, is having that double check, that that line of communication. That's what the NNA tries to do as well. It's okay to double check and second guess yourself and need to have support. And I know Miss Mary is a part of a wonderful group up in Seattle. I'm very proud of them. They're 4 or 5 people that have come together and created a support group with each other. But then sometimes, and this is where it can really get to, and I did a whole series last year about this. What I'm pinpointing with Miss Mary today is something that I suffer from, something that Travis suffers from, and it's something that I know Miss Mary suffers from, and that's anxiety. Anxiety is not a part of your business and really can't be a part of your business. Anxiety is something that's a part of you. Okay. And if you suffer from it, and if you don't suffer from it, please do not ever look out to someone and think that they're weird. Because I used to think my mother and my grandmother were absolute batshit crazy because they had anxiety. And I found out when I turned 30 that they were not crazy, that it is a real thing. It is like a devil and a demon that will hunt you down. And I suffer from it terribly in my personal life. There was a point in my life where I could not go to the gym because I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I wore a heart monitor for 3 weeks. I'm convinced I was going to die. And it wasn't until a doctor sat me down and said, Ronnie, if you were having a heart attack, you wouldn't be able to say the words, I'm having a heart attack, because you would be in that much pain. And that's when things started changing for me. But in business, and I want to give you an example. Travis, my business partner, one day he called me while he was just still a notary for us. He was one of our top notaries, but he called me and he said, I'm literally in the floorboard of my car. I can't breathe. You're going to have to reassign my next files. And I was like, I got you, buddy. I was like, this is on. I got you. I can get you through this. And, you know, I had a conversation with Miss Mary today, and I encourage all of you that are Notary Star members that you have access to the phone line. If you're ever having a panic attack, call me. I will help you, because I have, for the most part, conquered anxiety without medication. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I will tell you that anxiety, I told Miss Mary, I said, you're a wonderful notary. I've worked with you at Unlimited Ink, and we know she's a great notary, but she's starting to second guess herself. And this is what's happening. Anxiety has found a way to start creeping into her business, and it doesn't belong there. It's not an employee. It's not on the payroll, and she ain't cutting a check to it. So it has no place in what she's doing for work. Okay. My advice to her was walk up to the mirror. And this is something that I've done many times, is look directly in your own eyes and find anxiety. And for the sake of YouTube, I'm not going to make any gestures, but find anxiety deep down in your own eyes and give it the middle finger, because it does not belong in your business. It does not dictate what you do, and it does not make you good or bad at your job. Another thing that I pointed out to her is that she says, you know, I'm thinking a lot about doing right and wrong. That makes her a great notary. Okay. You're going to learn new things every day, every week. You'll learn less and less over time, for sure. You'll learn less and less. You'll learn what this client likes and what that client likes, and it will get easier. But believe you me, I will tell you, my first 2-3 years of being a notary, I would not have hired me. You know, I've been doing it a long time now, but it wasn't until like that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th year that I was really putting it all together. I used to go out and seek out training just like you guys do. Okay. And to be honest, I'd probably still be seeking out training. The only reason that I started Notary Stars was I didn't want to call at 7 o'clock at night while I was doing my grocery shopping when I was off work to take a test just to stay on a website. And I wanted training that, you know, focused more on training than how much money I could make. I put Notary Stars together for a lot of reasons, but do you know that you guys don't know it. I'm suffering from anxiety right now. I always tell you guys I wear t-shirts. When I go out to work now, I'm so relaxed. It is Arizona, and my heart is beating so fast while I'm talking to you guys. I told Miss Mary today, I said, this camera light lights up, and for some reason I can breathe. But right before it, there's a reason why this camera is off. That you guys think that waiting music is for you guys. It's to pump me up. It's to pump up anybody else that's going through having to get on camera and the nerves. I wear black t-shirts most of the time, or dark colored t-shirts on here. You guys don't know me in my personal life. I wear really bright colors, like really bright. But when I'm nervous or I know I'm going to be in a nervous situation, it's all black because you can't see the pit stain going from here to the floor. I guarantee you I could wring this shirt out and I have to change every time that I get on camera. You guys just don't know that, you know. But I wanted to bring that up today because anxiety is part of being a business owner, but knowing how to control it is very important. Now, it can be a part of your personal life, but a couple of things that I do when I start getting panicky and thinking, and one of her things that she said was, I don't know if I belong in this industry. And I thought, oh, honey, you totally belong in this industry. She double checks her work. She really cares about it. She asks questions. I want more notaries like that. I don't want them to go through the stress though. So one of the things that I do when my brain starts going in that wheelhouse of what, you know, that wheel that you can't get out of, I ask myself and I talk out loud, and I don't care if you think I'm crazy or not. I say, Ronnie, what's really going on here? Because the anxiety that you bring with you into your workplace probably doesn't come from your workplace. It's coming from something else outside of your life. It's coming from another point in your life where you were happy and something went wrong. Okay, remember those words right there. You're probably doing a really good job, and at some point in your life you were doing a really good job on something, and then someone told you you weren't, or the tablecloth was ripped out from under you, and that's where you're experiencing, you're waiting for that other shoe to drop. And you have, as a business owner, I live in that. Travis, I'm trying to teach this to. He lives in that right now, and we've had this conversation as business partners. Sometimes as a business owner, you have to realize that you're doing a good job and the other shoe just might not drop at all. It might not fall apart. You might just have found the perfect career. And that's what you need to live in. You need to live and relish in the fact that you train, that you go to Notary Stars, that you go to Loan Signing Systems, that you go to Notary to Pro, that you soaked all this information up, and that it is okay to ask questions. It is okay to want to be better at your job. And that doesn't make you bad. That makes you better. Every time you ask a question, it's like swimming in a pool. You glide a little bit further along the pool. Okay. And what do when you get to all the way to the end of the pool? You flip around and you swim to the other side again. Okay. It's like an exercise, but don't let anxiety get into your life. And if it's in your life, I apologize because I suffer from it too, but try your best to look at anxiety in the mirror, deep down in your own eyes, give it the middle finger and say, you are not on payroll here and you ain't getting none of this check, because that's what it will do to you. It will start taking part of your paycheck because you will start missing signings. You will start not doing as many signings as you can do. You might not live up to your potential. And every single one of you have the ability to cut it off and say, you don't belong here. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay. So I wanted Miss Mary, thank you so much for sharing that part of yourself. I know you wanted to remain off camera, and that's okay. But I wanted to thank you for sharing that part of yourself with this group today, because it is a tough thing to say. Another thing I want to let you guys know, this is a business mentorship, not just a notary mentorship. You all have businesses. This is something that you can bring up at general mentorship. Anxieties, stresses about your businesses. These are very legitimate feelings that business owners go through. And if there is anybody on this call that tells me that they don't have anxiety about their notary business, you are lying to yourself. You're not only lying to me, you are lying to yourself, because every single one of us has sweat a little bit over this. Some of us have almost thrown up over it. I mean, it is a real thing. So I want you to know that you can bring that to Notary Stars and help with your business, because it will make you a stronger business owner. Very much part of owning a business. So at this moment, I'd like to see if anybody else has anything else to add. Of course, we'll always stay around, but we are nearing the end of the hour. Of course, I'll start sending us out in just a moment if we don't have any, but if you have something to add to today's conversation, please raise your hand and get it virtually raised. We would love to hear from you. If you are too shy to talk on camera, please make sure to send an email to contact@notarystars.com. We always get back to you as soon as possible. Michael, why don't you ask your question there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to support Mary. I guess the question I have for Mary is, how have you, after assigning, how do you get over the anxiety? Is it looking through the docs another time, another 2 times? Showing, you know, what's the exercise that you do for yourself?
And then I just sit, there you go.
You were breaking up a little. My internet connection is, so I heard part of your question. What do I do to relieve the anxiety? I do double check the documents. And I think one of the things that I told Beth that at one point is sometimes when I'm double checking, if I am having anxiety, my attention isn't fully on them. So so that helps a little bit, but like I prefer the out of office signings where I print my documents and I have complete control because I can go around the corner and sit, and it's embarrassing to have to go back to the signers, but at least I'm sending back
No, okay. I
a perfect copy.
don't worry about embarrassment. It's what works for you. If that's your model of how you do your business and it works for you, just do it that way. You
Okay.
know, you got to support yourself. But I mean, there are times when all of a sudden I've awoken in the middle of the night and said, did I get, that signature on that certain doc? And all of a sudden it'll stick out. And if it's a scan back, I'll
Go look at the
check it,
scans. Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean, we all do that. But the fact that you're this conscientious, take an extra breath. You don't sound like somebody that's frivolous or doesn't care, doesn't know what she's doing. To say give it up, nah. This is 3 years in, 4 years in. That's something maybe you would say at the end of 10, 12 weeks if you weren't getting any business and you couldn't, handle it. You couldn't even get dressed to go out on a signing.
Mhm.
I'm not hearing any of that, and I'm not a professional. I'm just saying as a fellow notary, to me, it sounds like you're doing fine. And again, I've even caught mistakes that people have sent to me and they won't admit it,
Mhm.
so from whether it's an escrow or a title company, so, okay, fine. We're all after the same thing, a one-time perfect signing, not have to return. But the issue is that if you do have to return, how fast can you get it done? That's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I really appreciate you stepping up, Mr. Michael, and adding some support into that. It's something that we need to do with one another because we live in a very high pressure field, and I appreciate you offering your support on that. That just says a lot about your character. So I really appreciate you stepping up and saying something.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is as Carol Ray, Ronnie referenced this last week, and I always have, when she said it, that I love it, says, let the docs speak to you. There's such a thing as a mistake, but the docs will tell you what you need. I mean, I'll just be honest, the latest thing is that on doing a HELOC with a certain company, they want a name and a date on every single piece of a 1003, the 1003. And, I'm used to, initials page 1 and about page 5, and then again, maybe page 9 if it's one person, and that's it. So when I got that back and they said, you made a mistake, I said, what? I mean, only one company has structured their 1003s to look like that. Nobody else has ever made it look like that. But it is what it is. Now, ironically enough, I lucked out because it was an e-signing. So those docs, I had them sign the full package because they never got back to me and said, just have them sign the wet package. So I sent back and I said, hey, you have, this isn't in the wet package anyway. You already have e-signed set of these. So are you okay with that? They never answered. In the meantime, I'd called the borrower, and I'm freaking out by this. I called the signer and I said, hey, look, I might need to chase down there. And he goes, no, forget about it. Don't worry about it. He said, I'll reach out to my guy, and he did. And the guy said, oh no, we got everything. So though they never responded to me, it was fine, but I was freaking out over it. So I get it, but don't kill yourself over it. So, I mean, we're all hard on ourselves. Otherwise we wouldn't be good notaries.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Michael. I really appreciate you.
Well, I love you guys too.
And then we got one last question for today. We're going to go to Miss Judy Coultry, one of my favorite voices that comes across these airwaves. I love her sound. But right before we do, Miss Judy, I sent you the unmute, but right before you talk, Mr. Michael, another thing that Miss Carol always said, she said, let the document speak to you. And I said this today earlier on the podcast. Another thing that she said that really sticks with me is it's not the mistakes that we make that people remember. It's how quickly and efficiently we remedy them. I'm paraphrasing, but it's so true. People don't remember our mistakes. They remember how quickly we remedy them. If we make them feel like it's important for us, it's just as important for them, that's what they remember. Miss Judy, when you are ready, we are ready for you to take us home.
Hey, just thought I would get on here real quick and tell you and Beth both how much I appreciate everything that y'all do, how you help each and every one of us. I mean, there's been days that I've had to just sit here and think, oh, I need to call Beth, I need to call Ronnie, I need to do this because they're going to help me. But one thing that I have that I do when I'm prepping my documents is I will make a list of any question that I have, and then I'll send that list in an email to my signing agency, and then they will forward it to wherever it needs to go to get the answers. And I tell them, to keep from having issues at the signing table, I had rather get these solved now beforehand. And every time they always say, oh, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. We love for our notaries to reach out to us and let us help. That's what we're here for. So, and I have a couple of real close friends here in Tennessee that we chat back and forth all the time together, helping each other too. But I thought of Miss Carol just the other day. She was a dear friend of mine, and I enjoyed her training. And like you say, you can never get too much training.
No, ma'am, you cannot.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. There's, what's the saying? It's never a stupid question. Stupid questions do not exist. Ask away.
Yeah, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yep.
Miss Judy, thank you for chiming in today. We always love to hear you. I just love to hear the sound of your voice because you sound like everybody I grew up with. So you could just call me and talk all day if you want to.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, guys, we are going to take it home for today. Miss Beth has encouraged me to start reminding you guys that you can download the chat. Miss Beth, do you want to give instructions on how to download that chat before we go?
Yep. Once again, if you go to open up your chat, look for those three dots at the very bottom. Click on that to open that sub menu, and you're going to find at the very top where it says Save Chat. Just click on that. It'll save everything that happened in the chat during the entire session to your desktop. And you'll see that notification on your desktop as soon as we close out the meeting.
Awesome. Guys, that time has come. If you are not naked and you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich, and even if you are stuffing your face with a sandwich, please turn on your camera for just a moment so that we can say a little wave to each other. Y'all who grew up in the church, you go around at the end and you give everybody a hug, or you shake a hand, or you do something like that. Our signature wave is part of that for me. So just please turn on those cameras for a moment, wave to yourself, wave to another notary on screen, wave to those who couldn't be here today or that are going to be watching the replay, wave to yourself if you come back and watch this. And Miss Beth, how do we really say it here at Notary Stars?
Boy, tonight, more than any other time, this gotta hit home for you. Please just be kind. Reach back, grab the hand of another notary, show them the way, give them that support. We love you guys. Take care. Have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.